My name is Kira. On Christmas Eve, my mom raised a glass to my successful son, then turned to me and couldn't remember my name. By New Year's, she was digging for my work files like I was a family resource, not a person, and it blew up in a way she couldn't talk her way out of. If you've lived something similar, share your experience in the comments. Deb's door opened on the second knock. She was smiling, arms out. "Come in, give me your coat." The tiramisu tray dug into my wrists. Deb slid the coat off my shoulders and, in the same motion, took my phone. "I'll put this on the shelf so it doesn't fall," she said. "They're waiting on you." At the table, Evan was mid-story in a tie, talking about numbers and leadership like he was pitching himself. Deb stood at his shoulder, refilling glasses and nodding along. I took the only open chair. A place card in front of my plate said Kara in thick marker. The ink looked fresh. Nobody reacted. Someone asked if I brought dessert. I nodded and slid the container under my chair. Deb thanked me without looking, eyes still on Evan. The card sat there screaming the wrong name, while everyone pretended it was decorative, like the little plastic pine cones on her centerpiece. Evan rolled into his big Q1, and Deb raised her wine glass. "To my successful son," she said loud enough. Glasses rose, faces turned toward Evan. Then Deb looked at me, paused, and leaned closer. You. What's your name again?" Laughter hit the table hard. Evan laughed the loudest. My arm lifted on autopilot. The rim touched my lips. Deb clapped once, pleased. "She's always so quiet," she said, as if that explained the missing name. Without a pause, she pointed her glass at Evan. "He's got a big opportunity coming," Deb said. "Kira, you work with partners, right? Send your brother that pricing slide, the one you're always talking about." "No pressure," Evan said. "I'll take a look after the holiday," I said. Deb smiled wider. "See? Easy," she said, like she'd just ordered extra napkins. My pocket was empty. The phone was gone. Fingers patted my coat, then my purse. "Mom, where'd you put my phone?" Deb waved a hand. "Somewhere safe. Later." Behind her, the fridge held a magnet calendar with Q1 close, March 15th, circled in red. Under it, hotel stationery with a Magnificent Mile logo had Conference Room B written across the top. Nobody looked twice. Evan stood and strolled toward the entryway. "I'll help you look." He came back holding my phone, screen lit with a notification. "Your account was signed in on a new device." Evan handed it over. Deb leaned in, glanced, and shrugged. "Oh, those pop up for everything," she said. "Phones are dramatic." The email alert was already there. A file from my work drive had been shared, minutes ago, to an address labeled Evan. I hadn't sent anything. I stood and headed for the living room. Deb followed close. "Don't make a scene," she murmured. "It's Christmas." "I didn't do this," I said. "Go sit down." From the hallway, she called back to the table. "She's handling something." She's always busy. I hit call on my company's IT security line, listened to it ring, and yanked my coat off the hook as the voicemail beep started. The elevator opened onto my floor while the building still felt half asleep. Security nodded at me the way people nod at someone carrying a problem they don't want. My phone was a mess. A missed call from Deb, 3 texts from Evan, 2 from an aunt who only shows up for weddings and medical emergencies. Aunt Linda, "Your mom was just toasting. Don't be dramatic." Evan, "Call her. You made her cry." The voicemail from IT security sat under all of it like a parking ticket. At my desk, I logged in and pulled up my inbox and calendar. A banner popped up. "Security alert. Risk event logged." I forwarded it to the address from the voicemail and typed, "Please confirm origin," then kept my hands off the keyboard. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. "Kira, this is Daniel with security." "Yeah?" "We confirmed a sign-in last night. Naperville IP, 8:47 p.m. It triggered a risk flag." "That wasn't me." "Have you shared credentials with anyone?" "No." "Any trusted devices at that location?" The question forced a memory I didn't like. There's an old iPad at my mom's, I said. She keeps it out for my nephew. Daniel didn't argue. That device is listed as trusted on your account. The session last night came from a trusted device using a new login token. Daniel continued. I'm disabling all sessions. You'll have to sign back in everywhere. Do it immediately, I said. We recommend removing that iPad as trusted and changing your recovery options. Add that to the list, I said, and heard him type. Trusted, like my mom's kitchen was a secure facility. My manager, Scott, appeared beside my monitor with his travel mug. Conference room C, now. He stayed standing once we were in there. Do you have a personal relationship with vendor X? He asked. My brother works there. Scott's eyes narrowed, not angry, just recalculating. Compliance needs that on record. HR will run a conflict of interest review. Standard. My account was accessed from my mom's house, I said. I'm not weighing blame, Scott said. I'm telling you what procedure is. Outside the glass, co-workers drifted in wearing holiday sweaters and holding coffee like shields. Someone waved. Scott didn't. A woman in a navy blazer stopped at my desk the second I stepped out. Keira Knightley? Yes. Marisol Vega, compliance. Walk with me. She headed for the break area, grabbed 2 waters, and handed me one. Don't fight this with emotion, Marisol said. Fight it with a timeline. I didn't do anything. Perfect, she said. Then we document exactly what you didn't do. Deb called again. I let it ring. Marisol tipped her chin. Your mom? Yep. Voicemail, she said. For now. A text slid across my screen anyway. Deb, I made a toast and you stormed out. You always think you're better than us. Another arrived before I could lock it. Deb, people are asking what's wrong with you. Marisol read the preview and let out a short sound that wasn't quite a laugh. She used better as a diagnosis, Marisol said. Efficient. Evan followed. Evan, Mom says you'll send the pricing deck. Don't make me look stupid. My phone went face down on the counter. Marisol opened her laptop and pulled up an invite. Internal review, Monday, 9 a.m., mandatory. That's 4 days, I said. And you've got a partner meeting right after, she said, scrolling. I see the conflict already. An HR email landed with that polite tone that means someone is building a file. Effective immediately, you are temporarily removed from external partner calls pending conflict of interest review. Scott forwarded it to me with one line. We'll talk after Monday. Marisol pointed at my phone. From now until that meeting, no phone conversations with family. If they want something, they can put it in writing. Deb texted again. Don't let strangers get between us. Family handles family. My laptop pinged with another security alert. Marisol held out her hand for my phone like she was collecting evidence. Screenshot everything, she said. The buzzing stopped when my finger hit accept. Monday at 9 a.m. appeared on my calendar with the kind of certainty you can't delete. Marisol nodded at my screen. Good, she said. Now stop feeding them new material. Material? Your family, she said. They love a storyline. We met the next morning at a cafe in River North, close enough to walk back if someone from the office spotted us. Marisol kept her coat on like she didn't plan to get comfortable. Open the security report, she said. A new email from Daniel and security had arrived overnight. Session details. I slid my phone across the table. Marisol read the first lines and tapped the attachment. Naperville, she said. 8:47 p.m. That's when Deb asked everyone to toast, I said. I was still at her table. Marisol scrolled. Trusted iOS device, she read. Trusted since April. April landed like a weight. The memory showed up without asking. Deb had been waving an old iPad around, complaining that the grandkids couldn't get Netflix to work. I signed in for her, I said. She called it helping. Marisol set the phone down. That's not helping, she said. That's you handing her a spare key. My screen lit with a text from Evan. Mom says you're making a federal case out of a toast. Marisol looked at it and exhaled once. Your mom must be thrilled, she said. She got a toast and an investigation in the same week. Deb called before I could lock the phone. Marisol tilted her head. "Speaker," she said. "Let her perform." I answered. "Hi, Mom." "What is wrong with you?" Deb said. "Why is your company calling you?" "Are you telling people I hacked you?" "No one called you," I said. "They're dealing with me." "So you are blaming me," Deb said. "I asked you for a few things for your brother, and now you've got strangers snooping." "You always do this. You make everything public." Marisol raised 2 fingers, a silent reminder. Don't argue. "I need that iPad," I said. "What iPad?" "The one you keep on the shelf." "That's for the kids," Deb said, "and you're not coming over here acting like I'm some criminal." "I'm coming to look at Christmas photos," I said. "Aunt Linda wants them." Deb paused just long enough to make it clear she hated agreeing. "Fine," she said, "but don't start your nonsense." The drive to Naperville was all stoplights and holiday errands. Deb's wreath was crooked like it had tried to escape and failed. She opened the door on the first knock. "Shoes off," Deb said. "Don't track salt." The iPad sat on the living room shelf right where she always kept it. The screen was on, the email app was open, and my work address stared back at me like a witness. My hand reached for it. "Just grabbing it," I said. Deb's voice floated from the kitchen. "Grabbing what?" The iPad came off the shelf. Sent items were visible. So was a share confirmation. My file, my timestamp, Evan's address. Another tab showed recent activity. I snapped photos fast, making sure the clock was in each shot. A step behind me. "You're going through my things," Deb said. "It's my account," I said. Deb walked into the room calm and offended at the same time, like I'd stolen her TV remote. "Evan," she called, "come here." He appeared almost immediately, the loosened eyes already narrowed. "What are you doing?" Evan asked. "Give it back," Deb said. "That's in my house." "It's connected to my login," I said. "I'm documenting." Evan grabbed the iPad with both hands and yanked. My grip tightened on reflex. The corner dug into my palm. "Stop," Deb said louder. "Don't touch him." "I'm not." Evan pulled again. The device slipped and almost hit the floor, and Deb gasped like I'd thrown it. "There," Deb said. "See? She's out of control." Her phone was already up. "Hello," Deb said, staring right at me. "Yes, police?" "My daughter is causing a disturbance." The doorbell rang while she kept talking, and Evan held the iPad against his chest as footsteps moved toward the entryway. 2 officers stood on my mom's porch, one older, one younger. Deb stayed by the hallway table with her phone in hand, composed. Evan hovered behind her, still clutching the iPad. "Ma'am, what's going on?" the older officer asked. "My daughter is having an episode," Deb said. "She came here, started accusing us of stealing her work, and tried to rip property out of my son's hands." "Kira, is that true?" the younger officer asked. "It's my account on that device," I said. "I came for the iPad because my work files were accessed from this house." Evan shifted his grip, turning the screen toward his chest like it was a newborn. "Do you live here?" the older officer asked me. "No." "Okay. Anyone hurt?" "No," I said. Deb pointed at my hand. "Look at her. She's shaking." The older officer took out a notepad. "Ma'am," he said to Deb, "do you want her trespassed?" Deb didn't answer right away. She looked at Evan, then at me, as if picking the best punishment for the room. "I just want her to leave and calm down," Deb said. "It's Christmas. I don't want drama." The younger officer asked for our names and birthdays. Saying my own out loud felt like proving I existed. They wrote a domestic disturbance report. No cuffs, no stern lecture, just paperwork and a calm request to step outside. "Kira," the older officer said, "you need to go for the night." "Can I get my device back?" I asked. "That's between you and them," he said. "Right now, we're keeping the peace." Deb didn't even blink. Evan stayed behind her shoulder like a shield. My phone buzzed. A photo I'd just taken of the iPad screen failed to upload. The next one saved as a blank thumbnail. Reception in her living room had always been spotty. Suddenly, it mattered. "Can I at least copy the photos?" I asked. "You've done enough," Deb said. "Go." Outside, the younger officer walked me to my car. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" he asked. "I live in the city," I said. Back in Chicago the next morning, an email from HR waited before the first sip of coffee. Notice of administrative leave, pending review. Scott had added me to the thread with a single line. Compliance is expanding scope due to new information. Marisol met me in a small conference room before I could spiral into calling anyone. "They filed a police report?" she asked. "Domestic disturbance," I said. Marisol pinched the bridge of her nose once, then opened her laptop. "This changes the temperature," she said. "Not the facts, the temperature." Another email popped in, forwarded from a generic mailbox. It was from Evan, addressed to HR and compliance. "I'm concerned about my sister's state of mind," he wrote. "Given my role at Vendor X, I don't think she's in a position to work on anything involving us right now." Marisol read it, then looked up. "He just made your conflict of interest review his personal project," she said. HR's follow-up arrived 10 minutes later. Effective immediately, Kira will be removed from all Vendor X-related matters to reduce risk. A meeting invite disappeared from my calendar. Another showed updated organizer, with my name missing from the required list. Marisol slid a printed page across the table, the security log Daniel had sent. "See this alias?" she said, pointing. "Kara. That's the label on your trusted device profile." My throat tightened, but it came out flat. "That was on my place card," I said. Marisol nodded. "And this?" she said, tapping another line. "Conference Room B, Magnificent Mile. It's in the notes field of a shared schedule item connected to that device." The scrap of hotel stationery on Deb's fridge flashed in my head. Marisol leaned back. "You can't win by chasing your family room to room," she said. "You have to be proactive, and you have to pick the arena." My inbox refreshed. Reassignment of partner lead. My name wasn't anywhere. I shut the laptop, stood up, and walked out. In the hall, Marisol's text sat on my screen. Ethics Hotline. My thumb hit call as the door latched behind. The ethics hotline rang twice before a recording picked up. I left my name, employee ID, and the words unauthorized access in one breath, then hung up before my voice changed. By the time I got home to West Loop, the hallway lights had switched to their overnight dim. My condo smelled like cardboard and coffee because I'd never finished unpacking from December travel. A Christmas box sat on the counter, still taped. I sliced it open, pulled out the cheap tissue paper, and found a card on top. "Love, Mom" was written in Deb's looping handwriting. Under it, to Kara. No tears showed up. The card got turned face down and set beside my keys, the way you set down a bill you can't pay yet. My laptop booted and immediately served HR's latest update. Administrative leave continues pending investigation. I opened a reply, typed, deleted. Typed again, deleted. A third time, the cursor blinked at me like it was waiting for me to beg. Begging wasn't the problem. The problem was the way I'd trained them. When Deb took my phone so it wouldn't fall, I let it happen. When she called my work that partner thing, I corrected her once and then stopped. Silence had been my default because it kept dinners polite, and now my silence looked like permission. Marisol's email arrived at 11:18 p.m. Subject line, device correlation. The attachment was a spreadsheet of file activity tied to the trusted iOS device. 6 months of opens, downloads, and shares. Christmas Eve wasn't a one-off. It was just the first time the door squeaked loud enough for me to hear. A second message followed with 2 screenshots. One showed a calendar entry on Evan's side that referenced Magnificent Mile, Conference Room B. The other was the same phrase typed on hotel stationery, the paper I'd noticed on Deb's fridge. Marisol had added one line beneath them. "If he's using your access to prep for that meeting, it's not family drama. It's a compliance issue." In the morning, security escorted me into the compliance suite like I was visiting a courthouse. Marisol waited with a folder and a legal pad. Here's the choice, Marisol said. We need a forensic image of that iPad, she continued. If we can't get the physical device, we build it from logs, home Wi-Fi, and whatever cameras exist between Naperville and downtown. A consent form slid across the table. It authorized the company to extract corporate data from my phone and laptop, including location and authentication records. My signature would make it official, and official meant Evan couldn't hide behind just asking. You understand what this triggers, Marisol said. It may reach your brother, she added, and your mother. The pen felt heavier than it should have. Signing wasn't revenge, and it wasn't forgiveness. It was picking the channel that didn't care who raised me. Do it, Marisol said softly. Ink hit paper. Marisol gathered the pages and stood. Forensics is expecting you at 6:30, she said. Bring every screenshot you managed to save. On the way out, my phone lit up with Deb's name again. I let it buzz until it stopped, then turned on Do Not Disturb and added the ethics hotline number to my favorites. In the lobby, Daniel from security met me with a small evidence bag and a label. He didn't ask for the story, just the devices. My phone went into his hands, my laptop into the bag, and I signed another line confirming chain of custody. It felt like checking my own pulse into storage. Marisol watched, nodded once, and said, "This is how we win." Back at the condo that night, the printer groaned as it spat out a timeline. Dates, times, IP addresses, file names, and the single circle on Deb's fridge, March 15th. I clipped the stack into a plain folder, shoved it into my bag, and checked the lock twice out of habit. Before dawn, the city was still running on late-night delivery trucks. I pulled on my coat, grabbed the folder, and stepped into the hallway, scrolling Marisol's directions to the forensics office with my thumb already hovering over the call button. Security checked my badge at 6:28 a.m. and walked me to a small room with a glass wall and a table that looked like it had heard too many excuses. Daniel from security was there with a woman in a gray hoodie and a company lanyard. "This is Priya," Daniel said. "Forensics." Priya slid a printed summary across the table. "Your account wasn't just accessed," she said. "It was managed." Marisol arrived a minute later, coat still on, coffee untouched. Priya pointed at a line on the page. "Trusted iOS device initiated a password reset," she said. "Recovery method was already enabled." Daniel added, careful and clinical. "The reset was completed using a one-time code sent to your phone." Deb, holding my phone so it wouldn't fall, came back with sharp edges. Pia kept going before anyone could soften it. "The timing matches your location," she said. "Naperville, 8:47 p.m., while your phone was active but not in your possession." Marisol didn't react, just asked the next question. "Where did the files go?" Priya tapped another section. "Shared to your brother's address," she said, "and also to a consulting mailbox." "That's not him," I said. "He doesn't have a consulting business." Priya rotated the paper so Daniel could see it. "It's a secondary mailbox," Daniel said, "registered under his name. Different domain, same recovery phone." Marisol made a note and looked at me. "That place card," she said. "Kara." Priya nodded once. "Alias labels like that are often used to normalize device names," she said. "It blends into a list, doesn't draw attention." My phone buzzed on the table. Daniel had it in a sealed bag, but notifications still pushed through to the lock screen. HR. Marisol read it out loud. "Complaint received regarding your conduct at a family residence," she said. "Domestic disturbance report attached." Another email arrived right after. "Witness statement included," Marisol read. "Relative reports you were aggressive and tried to take property from your mother." Priya looked up. "That's not forensics," she said. "But it changes how fast this needs to move." Daniel's phone rang. He stepped out, came back with his face set. "We just lost the iPad," he said. Marisol stared at him. "What do you mean, lost?" "Factory reset," Daniel said. "The trusted device record updated an hour ago. Wiped." Priya didn't pretend surprise. "That's a standard move when someone realizes logs exist," she said. Marisol's jaw tightened. Can we prove it was wiped today? On your side, yes, Priya said. Your account shows the trusted device re-registered. That's consistent with a reset. My phone vibrated again. Evan, by email this time, copied to HR and compliance. I'm concerned Kira is not stable, he wrote. She's fixated on imagined sabotage. I don't feel safe engaging with her on anything business-related. Marisol read it, then turned her laptop so I could see the next message. Compliance notice, she said. If the leak is attributed to you, the company may terminate for cause and pursue civil remedies. Daniel cleared his throat. We can pull network correlation, he said. Home Wi-Fi logs. If legal approves, we request the router records. Same for hotel Wi-Fi if their events team cooperates. Marisol held up a hand. Careful, she said. Timing matters. If we request too early or wrong, it looks like we're fishing. If we request after notice, they claim spoliation. Priya leaned forward. There's another piece, she said. She opened a folder and pushed a bank statement printout across the table, redacted except for the relevant line items and a name. Deb's name. Marisol didn't touch it. Where did that come from, she asked. Open source, Priya said. Court filings, a civil collection case, medical billing plus a credit account in arrears. Daniel added, softer, she's under financial pressure. Marisol looked at me. This isn't her forgetting your name, she said. This is her treating your access like an asset. The room went still, not dramatic, just focused. Priya gathered the papers. We build the case without the device, she said. Auth logs, IP addresses, recovery events, anything tied to that consulting mailbox. 2 days later, legal approved limited disclosure for a scheduled meeting at the Magnificent Mile Hotel. Marisol didn't explain much over text, only sent the time and a screenshot of the events directory. At the hotel lobby, a digital board listed conference rooms and companies. Vendor X was right there, block letters, and under it, Conference Room B. My phone vibrated. Legal approved limited disclosure for meeting, the message said. A security guard shifted his stance, attention drifting to a couple arguing about parking validation. The door to Conference Room B clicked behind me. A long table ran the length of the room, name tents lined up with folders and untouched pens. Mine waited at the head. Kira Knightley, Executive Director / Managing Director, Strategic Partnerships. Evan's head lifted when he saw it. He sat with 2 colleagues from his company, sleeves rolled like the deal was already done. Deb hovered behind his chair, smoothing his collar like he was 12. There she is, Evan said. Kira, we're running tight today. Deb beamed at the room. I'm his mother, she said. I'm here to support him. Marisol came in beside me with a laptop bag. Our counsel, Tessa, followed with a binder. Nobody asked how my holidays were. Tessa faced both sides. Before we sign, she said, we have a required security disclosure. Evan's smile thinned. What security disclosure, he asked. Tessa slid a 1-page summary toward Evan's legal rep. Security incident summary, she said. Timeline, authentication events, file access, distribution. Evan left it untouched. Deb leaned in. Is this about that little phone alert? Deb asked. She turns everything into a production. Marisol opened her laptop and angled it toward the table. December 24th, Marisol said. 8:47 p.m., Naperville IP, trusted iOS device. Session initiated while Kira's phone was active. Evan gave a short laugh. That's her device, he said. She's careless. Deb jumped in fast. I didn't touch anything, she said. I worry about my kids. He asked for help. What was I supposed to do? Tessa flipped a tab. The trusted device initiated a password reset, she said. The reset was completed with a one-time code sent to Kira's phone. Deb's smile stayed, but her hand stopped moving. Evan leaned back. So she left her phone out, he said. That's on her. Marisol clicked again. Network correlation, she said. The access came from an SSID registered to Deborah Hartman's home router. Deb's eyes flicked to Evan. Marisol kept going. The same consulting mailbox received forwarded copies, she said. That mailbox is linked to Evan Hartman's recovery number. Marisol clicked to another slide. Same device signed in again on hotel Wi-Fi, she said. Magnificent Mile guest network during Evan's internal prep meeting. Tessa added, "We also found forwarding rules created from that iPad," she said. Messages containing pricing and terms were auto-sent to the consulting mailbox. I looked down the table. Who had the right to access my account from a device sitting in Deborah Hartman's living room? I asked. Deb's face went still. "That's my home," she said. "And you're making it sound criminal." Evan scoffed. "This is a family misunderstanding," he said, "not a corporate issue." Evan's legal rep, a woman in a charcoal suit, finally picked up the paper. She read, then looked at Evan like he'd just spoken out of turn in court. "We need to pause," she said. "Right now." Evan's face hardened. "This is ridiculous," he said. "They're trying to tank the deal." Tessa didn't flinch. "This isn't negotiable," she said. "We're disclosing a breach and a conflict." Deb tried to take the wheel. "Kira," she said, and stalled. "Kara." I slid my business card toward her with 2 fingers. "It's fine," I said. "It's printed." Deb stared at the card like it could bite. Tessa turned to the other counsel. "We're documenting this meeting," she said. The legal rep stood. "Evan," she said, "come with me." "I'm not going anywhere," Evan said. 2 hotel security staff appeared at the door. "Sir," one said, "we've been asked to escort you to a private room." Deb's voice went sharp. "You can't do that," she said. "He's the reason you're all here." The legal rep lowered her voice. "Now," she said. Evan pushed back his chair and walked out with them. Deb followed 2 steps, then stopped when she looked back at where I was sitting. The head of the table, my name, my title. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I stood, straightened my blazer, and held my hand out. "Hi, Mom," I said. "I'm the person you forgot last year." My hand stayed there while Deb stared at it, deciding whether to take it. Her eyes dropped to the nameplate again, then to Marisol's laptop, then to the door Evan had just been escorted through. "I don't understand," Deb said. Tessa replied before I did. "You don't have to," she said. "You just have to leave the meeting area." Deb turned on her heel, chin up like she was walking out of church. "This is harassment," she said. "My son works hard." A hotel manager appeared with a badge and a practiced smile. "Ma'am," he said, "this is a private corporate event. We need you to step out." Deb looked past him at me. "Kira," she said, trying the name like it was new. "Tell them." My hand stayed in the air for a beat longer than necessary, then lowered to the table. I sat back down and opened my folder. The manager waited. Deb didn't move. "We can't allow non-attendees," he said, "and you've been identified in a security disclosure." Deb's mouth tightened. "So now I'm identified," she said, making air quotes she couldn't actually pull off. Security walked her toward the hallway. She kept glancing back as if someone would jump up and correct the universe. The meeting continued without Evan. His counsel requested a pause on signatures and asked for copies of the summary. Tessa agreed, on paper, with receipt signatures. Everyone wrote their names carefully. It felt like watching adults rebuild a shattered plate and deciding who had to pay. 2 days later, I sat in a glass conference room downtown with HR, compliance, and Scott. Evavin wasn't there. A printed decision letter was. Scott slid it to me. "Vendor X has placed Evan on suspension pending their investigation," he said. They acknowledged conflict violations. Marisol added a second document, stamped and initialed. "Our forensics package has been accepted as evidence," she said. "Your administrative leave ends today." HR cleared her throat. "You will be reassigned away from any accounts with family ties," she said. "Permanent condition." "Fine," I said. "Put it in writing." She did. That evening, a cousin invited me to dinner to clear the air. I chose a small Italian place near River North because it had enough tables that nobody could corner me. Deb didn't show. Evan didn't show. The people who had laughed at Christmas did, but they avoided eye contact like it was contagious. Aunt Linda opened with a sigh. "Your mother is devastated," she said. I pushed my water glass an inch away from the edge of the table. "She called the police on me," I said. Linda blinked. "Well, you did grab an iPad with my work email open," I said, "while my files were being forwarded." Across the table, my uncle checked his phone and then set it down like it burned. "The family chat is silent," he said. "It's not silent," my cousin muttered. "It's deleted." Nobody laughed. Nobody argued. The waiter dropped bread and asked if we needed anything else. Everyone said no. When I got home, I sent Deb one message, short enough to fit on a screen without scrolling. "From now on, contact me by email only. Do not come to my home. Do not mention my work to anyone." Her reply bubble appeared, then vanished. I opened my settings and removed every recovery contact, every shared device, every trusted shortcut I'd ever allowed. A hardware key went on my keyring. My number changed the next morning. In my contacts, Mom stared back at me. I tapped edit and renamed it. Deb, email only. Notifications off. The spare key Deb had insisted on for emergencies sat in a kitchen drawer in a little envelope she'd provided, as if she'd planned the convenience of crossing my threshold. I didn't throw it away. I sealed it. At the shipping store, the clerk weighed the padded envelope. "Anything fragile?" he asked. "Just boundaries," I said. Back upstairs, the deadbolt turned with a solid click. My hand rested on the lock, then slid away as I stepped into the hall. I tucked receipt into my wallet, pressed the elevator button, and waited for the doors to open without looking back.